Hello, welcome back to Leeds Lately. It's been a while since we've done a live stream now. Obviously, usually our live streams are around the games, but today I thought, you know what, let's go live and let's talk about all the recent transfers that have been going on. So we'll wait for a little minute just to see who else joins, because we've only got 6 people at the moment. We've got Danny in there already. Smash a like and subscribe, please. Do what Danny says. And of course, Chewy, member for 16 months, which is fantastic. Thanks so much for continuing to support the channel, Chewy. Evening, Ewan, as well. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we'll just wait for a few more people to get in here, but we're going to be talking about some transfer business tonight. Now, you've probably seen earlier in the week and stuff that a lot of my videos have been surrounding kind of doing player updates and scouting reports and all that sort of thing, but today we're going to kind of summarize everything, and if people like it, we might make it a weekly thing just so that we can keep the live streams going, just keep giving people something to watch as members and stuff as well. I'm assuming that means, are you well? I'm well, thanks, Chewy. I hope you are as well. Evening, Chris. Evening, Sripper. Welcome everybody who's joining us. We'll give it till about 5 past, and then we'll start talking about all of the transfer news. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's got their tickets if you are going to the Leeds Creator Cup. Now, I think, just let me check this. I'm pretty sure this is the statistic. Let me just have a little look at what Joe Blackburn said. 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer in their lives, and it's a very real issue that affects everybody. So this Leeds Creator Cup is a chance for us to try to raise some money for Prostate Cancer UK, to try to make a difference, hopefully using our platforms for something good. It's also going to be an amazing family fun day out. £7 is a ticket, so it's not too much, down at John Charles Centre for Sport on the 20th of July. The link to the Leeds Creator Cup is in the description, so all your tickets and everything can be purchased there, and it should be a great day out for everybody. Everybody can meet all the content creators, and the content creators as well can meet each other for the first time, because I've only ever met Lewis and Charlie from Chatting Leeds. I think are the only 2 creators that I've ever met in person, so it'll be interesting to meet everybody in real life. I was going to say and see everybody from the waist down, but that sounds very wrong. What I mean is, when you sit on a live stream with Joe Wayman, with Lockie, with Andrea, with all these different people, you're only ever seeing this up, so you don't know how tall these people are. It's a whole weird thing when you're going to see people in the flesh. But yeah, it should be an amazing event for everyone. We will get into the transfers very, very shortly. It's not going to be a massively long live stream, just however long it takes for us to get through all the transfer rumours from this week, and whatever conversations you guys would like to have with me as well. So, in fact, you know what? What we'll say is, I will say that you guys can choose which transfer we talk about first. So whatever you're most interested in, we'll talk about. So let's see if I can do a little poll here, and we can see. Hi, Ruggy, welcome to the chat. Let's do a little poll. Which transfer should we talk about first? Sarippa, I think that there hasn't actually been anyone linked with Leeds this week in that department. But we can talk about the whole situation, because I do have some thoughts on it in general. So no worries. I'm just typing out some options here. These are all the ones that we are going to cover throughout the stream. So don't worry. Oh, wait. Okay, those are your options of the first ones. Apparently I can only do 4 options, but let me know what you think. Well, look, we've got a new thing here. We've got top fans. So at the moment, Sripper is number 1 with 75 XP, and I wonder if that's because of how many chats he's put in. Then you've got Chewy, number 2, and Danny Rumsey, number 3. So, yeah. We'll see what the poll comes out like. We'll give it just a minute or two, and then we'll decide what we can start. But we can talk about goalkeepers in a second as well, because I do have, like I said, some thoughts and opinions on that whole thing. You can see as well on the bottom bar. On the bottom bar here, the latest transfer news is rolling by as well. So that's kind of what you've got to come in the video. We've got some conflicting votes here. Welcome everybody who's joining us. Nice to see you again. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, but I thought we probably should. And it looks like at the moment Sadiki is the one that people want to talk about the most. So we could start with that one in a minute, but we'll give it just 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll see who we want to talk about first. Like I said, though, I hope everybody's well, and if you haven't already, check out all the links in the description. My prints that I've designed myself are available on Etsy as well. Leeds United prints and artwork. If you click that link, you'll be able to see the artwork that I've designed. And of course, click the link and it'll take you through to the Etsy shop. Last live stream was, Sunderland versus Sheffield United, who have now sacked Chris Wilder as well since we last went live. But yeah, right, okay, so we've got 55 people in here now. I think that's a fair amount to get started on this. So if we end the poll there, it looks like Noah Sadiki won. So we'll talk about Noah Sadiki first. Now, where is he? Here we go. So Noah Sadiki then, £8.5 million is the 10 million euros that Union Saint-Gilloise would be asking for. I did a full video and a full breakdown on him, so if you want a lot more of a deep dive, make sure you go and check that out after the stream. But Noah Sadiki is a 20-year-old box-to-box midfielder who is an amazing ball carrier and progressor. He's somebody who I really, really like for this Leeds United team. I think in terms of his value for money, getting somebody like him, he is basically Habib Diarra, but just plays in a less established league in the Belgian league. But he's played European football in the Europa League against the likes of Roma and Ajax. He's played a lot of football for his age. Last season, he spent 1 game on the injury table and played 54 or 55. So he missed 1 game all season. So his injury record as well is fantastic. So Noah Sadiki then, for me, is a no-brainer. I think we should definitely be going out and getting him. I think he's exactly the kind of player we need. We were talking about a couple of weeks and months ago, basically, when we knew that Joe Rothwell was going to go back to his parent club, that we needed somebody who did that job. And I think Noah Sadiki could do it excellently. He's not massively experienced. He's not that tall either, only being about 5'8", but he has the kind of tenacity and the ball carrying ability to be really, really successful in the Premier League. I think the comparisons that you draw is to N'Golo Kante. Now, that seems like a wild accusation, but we're talking about body type, we're talking about height, we're talking about the way that they carry the ball and the positioning that they pick up. He likes to drop deep. He likes to drop basically into that space between the defenders and the midfielders. He likes to drop in, pick the ball up, and then go ahead and redistribute it to his teammates. So I think he's somebody who I would be very, very happy with in terms of Noah Sadiki. I think the way that he plays fits us completely down to a T, and the money is easily doable for a club like Leeds United coming back up to the Premier League with the kind of war chest, as we call it, that we have to spend. If you have seen my video earlier in the week about Noah Sadiki, let me know down in the chat what you think. Slide 2.0 saying swoop in for Ricardo Pepi ahead of Fulham. I think it's more likely that we kind of look to try and get Muniz off them, which we will talk about this. We'll come back to this slide. If you want to talk about that next, we'll go on to it. But yeah, that's what I think about Noah Sadiki, essentially. I think he's a very good player. I think the value's amazing. Not massively proven, but I think in terms of what you want him to recruit, if you're using database recruitment, if you're recruiting right and you're spending that amount of money, I think that's a Brighton-style signing. I think even when Leicester pulled Kante from the second division in France, pulling a central midfielder from... now, that's just pessimistic, John. Innit? That's just pessimistic. Don't think we'll get any of these players. Well, we'll certainly get one, because Jaka Bijol is one we're going to talk about soon, who's nearly on his way. Sripper's saying, is Sadiki Prem ready? So I actually did a thread on Twitter yesterday. I'll just read it out to you. And I don't think you're not saying, look, we shouldn't sign him because he's not Premier League proven. That's not what you're saying. But I do think this whole Premier League experience thing is a bit of a myth. However, what you're saying, Sripper, is he Prem ready? I think so. I think he's not particularly proven to the point where you'd go, okay, he can start every single week. I don't think he's the player who starts every single week, but I think he's certainly a player who completely adds a net positive to this squad. I really do. Like Chewy says, we'd have a useful midfield with Sadiki, Ampadu, Gruev and Tanaka. Absolutely. So just as a point then, this is not to you, Sripper, because I know you're not saying this, but I did this thread the other day. So I said, I think the whole Premier League experience thing is a bit of a myth. If you recruit right, with the right player profiles and proper database recruitment, you can eliminate some of the shortfalls of previous failed transfers from abroad into the Premier League. Furthermore, if you take into consideration the league of the player, the physicality and the statistics, plus the eye test on the way that they play and how they would fit into your current system, the kind of transfers that Brighton have made in the last 5 years from those obscure leagues that come in and do really well can be achieved. Which to me is why data is so important, the willingness to say no if a deal isn't quite right for the money. Every transfer is a risk, and we know this because only about 50% of transfers, you could say, worked. But these can be mitigated with proper recruitment. We have this Premier League expectation, Premier League experienced expectation based on terrible transfers that the likes of Man United and Chelsea have made over the years, where they just throw money at anyone who looks like they might have a high potential without recruiting for the manager and for the system, and knowing when to say no to a deal that is becoming too expensive. The amount of money, this is probably one of the most important things, is the amount of money you need to spend on a player of similar quality from a Premier League club to that of a European club is vast, based on this Premier League experience factor. In summary, don't panic that all our links are abroad. If done right, we can actually get more players and more quality for the amount of money that we would be spending, which I think is a very valid point. I know I wrote it. I think it's a very valid point, because if you are going to spend in the Premier League and you're going to buy Rodrigo Muniz, you might get him for 40 million, something like that. But if you went abroad and you could found a similar player profile, I think you're getting him for a lot less money. So back to what we were saying then, Sadiki, I think, makes up for a very useful midfield with Ampadu, Gruev, Tanaka. To me, it's an absolute go for it, buy him. So that's Sadiki then. So we're talking about the 49ers in the chat, and they haven't really made particularly bad recruitment so far, have they? So Ruggy saying, do these potential recruitment candidates give us more height? Perhaps it would improve our poor corners from performance from last year. Well, that transitions us nicely onto Nicola Christovich. Now, Nicola Christovich, apparently, Lecce in the Italian league are wanting... So originally they said that they wanted 30 million euros. Apparently Leeds bid 19 million euros. And Lecce are actually asking for 25 million euros. To give you a bit of context behind Christovich, he's a striker. He is, let me just Google his height because he's tall. He's from Montenegro. He is height in feet because 6'1". So Nicola Christovich is a 6'1" striker from Lecce in the Italian First Division. He has scored 11 goals and got 5 assists last season. He's 25 years old. He's physical and he's really good in the air. He's not 100% ready for the Premier League yet, I don't think. Having spoke to Andrea Russo, of course, friend of the channel, who is more of an expert on Italian football because he's Italian and he watches a lot of it, he thinks that Christovich is a good player. And his hold-up play is decent, and he likes to drop in and kind of help with the build-up, which is what Daniel Farke wants. So you can see why he would have been picked out as a player to kind of to look at. But he isn't particularly mobile. He's used to playing in the Italian division, which is a lot slower. His shots kind of conversion rate, his shot accuracy isn't fantastic. I think he took the most shots in the Italian division last season, with only about half of them actually being on target. He shoots from distance. Apparently, Andrea said that when he shoots from close range in the box and he's got a chance that he probably should finish, he might do a bit of a Bamford and fluff his lines, but then he'll smack one in from 25 yards out. So he's a bit mercurial in his consistency. He's not always the type of player who's going to come up with the goods in those kind of games. So in those kind of situations. So for me, if you were to be able to sign Christovich for around £15 million, perfect. That's fine. But I do think I would rather spend big on a striker. Not big, not 50, 60 million pounds, but 30 million, 35 million pounds on somebody who you know is going to do well. And I think Leeds will be willing to turn away from Christovich if they ask for too much. And I think that's the good thing about the 49ers. Like I was saying in the thread that I wrote last night or the night before, it's important that we can say no when something's too much. So to me, Christovich, he would add that kind of height value and that he's not massively tall, but he has that aerial ability. But is he the ideal striker for Leeds? He's got a lot of the attributes that Daniel Farke would want from a number 9. But for me, I think we should be going for somebody else in the striker department. Andrea said if we went for Christovich, he'd like to see us go for another striker as well. But the fact that we've already signed Mecha on a free shows to me that it's going to be Mecha, Piru, and one other striker. 3 strikers usually rotating, which to me as well suggests Bamford's on his way out and potentially that Joseph could go out on loan. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so Dr. Cox saying Radzard Orta would have paid the full price for the player you're speaking about. Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly. There's this level of smarter recruitment, and that's what I think we should be talking about. Can we recruit in a more intelligent fashion where we can learn to just go, that's too much, we're walking away? Speaking of which, that moves us nicely on to Rodrigo Muniz. Before we get onto that, though, Philip Anderson saying, hi, Max and everyone, buzzing for the season. I have a feeling with the quality of players we were getting linked with, Daniel Farke and the players will be good enough to get us about 16th or 15th. I hope so. And this is what we're talking about with this stream as well, is that the level of recruitment that we're looking at here seems to be more thought out. We could come back to this in a year's time. Yeah, I think it is Mecha from what I've heard people say, not Nemecha. So I'm going to go with Mecha, I think. It's easier to say anyway. But yeah, what Philip's saying, I think if we recruit right, we could easily come back to this in a year's time and go, what the hell were we on about? But from the player profiles that we're looking at and from the research that I've done on the players that we're looking at, it does look good where we are. It does look good. So that brings us on to Rodrigo Muniz. Now, apparently, the last thing that we heard was that Leeds offered £26 million plus £6 million in add-ons that was rejected by Fulham for Muniz. Now, apparently, Fulham were originally asking for around 45 to 50 million for him, but may drop as low as 40 million. Leeds trying their luck. You might get a deal across the line with around 35 million. He's had one decent season where he wasn't the starting forward for Fulham, but he certainly fits the profile that Leeds want to go for in this striker. A little bit similar to Nicola Christovich. He's a similar height. He's aerially strong. He's the best striker option that we've been linked with so far, I feel. And he had a good season last season whilst not being the main guy, the first guy on the team sheet. But as somebody alluded to earlier, Sly 2.0, he said about Ricardo Pepi. Now, Ricardo Pepi is looking like the option for Fulham, who they might be going out to sign him from PSV in the Eredivisie, the Dutch division. Now, if Ricardo Pepi signs for Fulham, that obviously opens up the door for Muniz to leave. I don't think Muniz has got a massive amount of time left on his contract either. I think he's only got 1 year left on his contract. I don't think we should go up to 40 million, but I think something in the region of 35 million gets that deal done, and you spend less money in other areas because of it. But I think he's the guy, or he certainly fits the profile of the guy we want up front. And if you consider that you would have him, and then as a backup you've got Mecha and you've got Joel Pirou, I think those are 3 good options to have as strikers. And I think Rodrigo Muniz is gonna want to go somewhere. He's gonna want to go somewhere. One year left. Yeah. So you've confirmed that, Dr. Cox. Yeah. So with 1 year left on his deal and a potential transfer out, I think he's going to want to go somewhere where he gets first team football. And I think with Leeds, he goes straight in as the first team striker with Pirou as backup and Mecha as third choice. I think that's what we're looking at. I think that's what we're looking at here. So let me know what you think of Rodrigo Muniz down below. I haven't watched that much Premier League football from last season, obviously very focused on what Leeds were doing. So let's see kind of where that goes on that one. Let's go into Jaka Bijol then. Now, obviously, I've made a couple of videos on Jaka Bijol. His medical was supposed to be on Thursday. We're expecting the announcement soon. I think people are worrying a little bit about... Hi, Penny. Welcome to the stream. I will get around to the number 10. People are worrying a little bit that Newcastle might have come in and pipped us to the post because there was rumours that they tried to get here, kind of hijack that deal. But... apparently there's just paperwork going through and it's just all admin and stuff like that needs to be finalised before he's announced. But what kind of player is he? He's aerially strong. I would say he's a classic stopper. He's right-footed, so in my video I kind of explored how him and Rodon would play in the same team, which to me might be an option if we went 3 at the back. So I think Bijol is somebody who is not brilliant as a ball player, and apparently when he's under a lot of pressure he does tend to send the ball long. But if we do bring in another striker who is a little bit more kind of aerially gifted, that helps him because it doesn't look like he's just hoofing the ball long. But I think he does offer us some good options in that sense. Jaka Bijol is somebody who is very solid and strong defensively. The Slovenian apparently is around a 19 million rumoured price for him. So a bit more than maybe we would have wanted to pay, but not beyond the realms of possibility, not a ridiculous price. He did have interest from Inter Milan. Now I know Andrea, obviously, like I said before, Jaka Bijol coming from Udinese, he played in the Italian division, of course. So Andrea had some opinions on that and said, if you were going to kind of compare him to someone, you might compare him to Acerbi at Inter, or you might compare him to Harry Maguire. Now, don't panic when I say Harry Maguire, because Harry Maguire has been a very good defender in the past. Very strong, very physically capable, and very good at stopping attacks. Just not fantastic on the ball. But if you do play a 3 at the back, you do give yourself that extra man to have an option there. So he is going to sign. So obviously, I hope he's amazing for us. But it looks like there's a clear intent there to go with somebody who's very strong defensively. Let me know what you think of Jaka Bijol in the comments or in the chat. Sorry, I'm used to it being a video, not a live stream. Not done one of these in a while. But yeah, he's the type of player who is going to really kind of try to solidify us at the back, and that seems what Leeds might have gone for with that signing. Speaking of Slovenian players, this is just a small one. We've been linked with Lovro Golic. Now, Lovro Golic is an under-21 from Roma who is leaving on a free transfer. So apparently Hoffenheim, Lecce, who obviously Christovich plays for, and Leeds United are interested. according to some Slovenian kind of football fans on Twitter who have seen a little bit of him. It's Fulham, but yeah, the point stands, doesn't it? They're asking a bit too much. He's supposed to have a high ceiling, Lovro Golic, but not apparently Premier League ready. So he goes straight into our under 21 setup. So that's just one to be aware of. Lovro Golic, young defender from Roma, will be leaving on a free in 10 days because that's when the contracts end. So should we go back to some midfielders then? We've got Douglas Luiz and we've got Habib Diarra. Douglas Luiz or Habib Diarra, who do you want to talk about next? Hoffenheim are a poor team in Germany, escaped relegation last season. Yeah, so it depends what kind of pathway he sees through to the first team, doesn't it? Even if he sees that as a kind of a stepping stone. But yeah, Douglas Luiz or Habib Diarra do we want to talk about next? Just gives a chance to have a little bit of a breather. Who would I sooner sign? In terms of Habib Diarra and let's just talk about both of them, and Douglas Luiz. Now, Douglas Luiz is a difficult one because he is the much more proven player. He's got Aston Villa into the Champions League. He used to play for Man City. He's been at Juve for 1 year. It's not fantastically gone well for him there. But apparently, Douglas Luiz has been linked with a loan for a year with a then £30 million obligation to buy. That's the kind of news that we've heard. Having said that, Douglas Luiz was signed by Juventus for £50 million 1 year ago. I really don't think they're going to let him go for that much. He's also on huge wages. I think someone said he's on about £8 million a year. A very good established Premier League player who's played in the Champions League, who's got Villa to the Champions League, played for Manchester City. He would be a real kind of statement signing and a step up for Leeds. However, for me, I think it's a non-starter, given the fact that he only joined 1 year ago for 50 million. I don't think they'd be willing, unless they're in a desperate financial situation, to try and make a loss like that, to try and claim some money back. So for me, I don't think Douglas Luiz, I would love to have him, but I don't think it's a signing that we're going to make. So that leaves us with Habib Diarra now. Habib Diarra is a little bit similar to... we'll have a little break here and we'll answer some questions. Michael saying, are you happy with the signings that Leeds have got through the door and the players Leeds are being linked to? Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like I said before, the database recruitment thing shows that Leeds are looking for specific types of players, not willing to spend too much on them, and really kind of trying to buy for the system. So, yeah, I like that. So I'm still nervous about Bijol when Newcastle are pushing. I think it's just admin that's going through there. It's just admin. Philip Anderson, we'll do a number 10 here because we haven't been linked to any number 10s really, but the Emi Buendia one, because of Daniel Farke, doesn't seem to really particularly want to go away. I've seen the clip. Yeah, Emi Buendia is on Norwich YouTube channel, and he was basically saying that he loved working with Daniel Farke. It was special when he played there, and he was able to kind of play his best football a lot of the time when he was at Norwich under Daniel Farke. So people were saying, is that a come and get me statement? And I think he would be available for less than he was in previous seasons as well. So I think that our number 10 option could still be Emi Buendia, and Leeds may be waiting for that deal to kind of materialise. So that's all we've kind of heard on a number 10. So back to Habib Diarra then. So in terms of central midfield options, he's similar a little bit to Noah Sadiki, who we talked about at the start, but Habib Diarra is going to be a lot more expensive. He's only 1 year older than Sadiki, though. He's a box-to-box midfielder who likes to occupy the half space. He likes to try and attack down the right, down the left. Not so much of a central midfielder. He kind of drifts out to either side to help out the wingers and the fullbacks. He's had a great season for Strasbourg. He's had a really good season for Strasbourg, but he's similar to Sadiki, but in like more established in a better division. So the asking price for him seems to be a lot more. It seems like Leeds may have put in an 18 million euro bid at one point. There are other clubs apparently interested in Habib Diarra as well. So there tends to be a little bit of competition for players like that who have had such a good season. So I don't think Newcastle will hijack Bijol, Jason. I don't think he will. I think he'll see that he'll be getting starting minutes at Leeds at a big club. Of course, Newcastle are a big club too. But I think apparently it's all just admin that's going through. So I think there's no danger of that happening, in my opinion, at the moment. But don't shout at me if it does happen. But yeah, Habib Diarra then, box-to-box midfielder, up and down, good defensively, good attacking. He's similar to Sadiki in the way that he plays. He's good at carrying the ball. He's a very, very accomplished midfielder for his age. And I do think that we are looking at somebody who would really elevate our team. But like I said, we are facing competition from other teams. And I do think that it's going to be one of those ones that's a little bit more difficult to get across the line. So, yeah, that's why I think we aren't going to be able to. That's why I think we aren't going to be able to get Habib Diarra across the line. But Noah Sadiki is by no means a terrible option. Instead, I really like Sadiki, and I want Leeds to go out and get him. Okay, then what we've got left is from the main kind of links that we've had is Gabriel Gudmundsson. Now, Gabriel Gudmundsson is a Swedish left back. Is a Swedish left back who plays for Lille in the French division. Obviously, therefore, has Champions League and Ligue 1 experience. He's 26 years old, so he's not necessarily a wonder kid or anything like that, but he's coming into his prime years at 26 years old. So around £7 million asking price is great value for what you're getting for Gudmundsson. Now, I want to make it clear about Gudmundsson that he's by no means the complete left back, and a lot of people have been worried a little bit about defensive capabilities. Gudmundsson is very much an attacking fullback. His defensive responsibilities kind of leave a bit to be desired, but so did Junior Firpo's, and you saw what he was capable with the system fitting him in the Championship. I think Gudmundsson is somebody who plays in a very similar style to Junior Firpo. Last season when we were playing and we would see Junior Firpo pop up in the box in the half space and score a goal, and you'd go, whoa, why is our fullback so high up? That is exactly what Daniel Farke wants him to do. And if you watch my video from earlier in the week on Gudmundsson, yesterday or the day before, Gudmundsson is somebody who has great rotations with the wingers. So when you saw Bogle and Dan James out on the right-hand side, or you saw Nonto and Firpo, or Ramazani and Firpo, whoever it was, Solomon and Firpo, out on that left wing, and you saw the rotations between them, it would mean that sometimes Firpo was out wide and Solomon was in the half space, or sometimes it was the other way around. So the rotations are there to A, provide an overload on the full back and pull other defenders or midfielders across to open space in the middle, and B, to open up that half space to be able to get into there and score goals, because a lot of goals are scored from there. More goals than anywhere else are scored from in that half space. So Gudmundsson's somebody who's got great rotations with the wingers in those half spaces. And I think he would be a fantastic signing for Leeds. Given the price that we're asking for him, I think, especially if we're looking at sometimes playing a three at the back with Bijol in the back three with maybe Strauch and Rodon, or Ampadu and Rodon, I think Gabriel Gudmundsson really provides you with a good option as a left wing back and a left back as well. He also has played as a left mid and a left winger, so that's how attacking Gudmundsson is. I do think he looks like a very good fit for Leeds United, and this is what I'm talking about. 26 years old for £7 million. He's not a massive outlay, and he's not somebody who every club in Europe has been linked with. He's somebody who fits us specifically, and that's what we're talking about this. That's what we're talking about with this, identifying the player profile. Michael asking, on this kind of similar note, do you know if Leeds United are using an algorithm or an AI-driven model to recruit players in a similar way which Brighton and Brentford are doing to identify the right profile players? Unfortunately, I've got no idea how they're doing their recruitment, but I know for a fact that the idea is to get player profiles that fit the way that Daniel Farke wants to play. Less so now than ever before is there this kind of Victor Orta mentality of let's buy ego signings, let's buy Mark Rocker from Bayern Munich, let's buy Weston McKennie from Juventus, let's buy these players who are playing for top clubs just because they're playing for top clubs and we want to kind of revitalise their career or whatever the thinking, whatever the hell the thinking was on those things. But it's a case of let's buy players that really fit our system. So you might say, okay, well, Sunderland have come up, but Sunderland wouldn't touch Gudmundsson because he doesn't fit the way that they play. So I think that the way we're looking at it is, do these guys fit our system? And if they do, can we get them in for the reasonable price? Stephen Grayson saying, has Bijol actually signed and just not been announced? It's all admin, apparently, according to the Leeds journos. It's all admin and paperwork that's being done. They're just finalising things, and it will probably be in the coming days, I imagine. So I think there tends to be a massive amount of panic as well in terms of whether if this falls through. If this falls through, I don't think it will. I don't think it will at all. But if it fell through, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think just because it's a signing that we're going to get through the door, everyone will panic if it doesn't happen instantly, if you get what I mean. It starts to feel like it's going to fall through. But if it doesn't, Leeds will have backups upon backups of players that they have also identified that can do a similar job to him for a similar price. He might have been their number one choice, but there will be other ones. There will be other ones that Leeds could have a look at, and potentially even better in terms of the fit that they have for the system. So, yeah, don't worry too much. Bijol had his honeymoon and wedding and all that sort of thing, so it's all right. It will be fine, I promise. Either way, even if he doesn't sign, it'll be fine. Now, somebody mentioned a goalkeeper situation before, and Zawicecki from Salzburg, Sly, is saying looks good. Use that Red Bull investment to our advantage. The way that the goalkeeper works the way that the goalkeeper situation works in the Premier League, or in football in general. Now, I listened, or I haven't listened recently, but I used to listen to a lot of the Fozcast, Ben Foster's podcast, and he had what was the guy called? There was another ex-goalkeeper that he was friends with who is now like a mega agent, basically, for all of the Leeds United, all of the goalkeepers in the UK leagues. So the way it works is it's a massive domino effect in terms of goalkeepers, a massive domino effect. Once the first goalkeeper moves, so let's say that Kelleher goes to Brentford, then Brentford's other goalkeepers might come up available. And it's one of those things. So if Richard Lee, thank you, Dr. Cox. So it's Richard Lee. So if Newcastle sign, who are Newcastle trying to sign? There was a goalkeeper that Newcastle are after. Newcastle goalkeeper rumour. There was a Newcastle goalkeeper that they want Burnley goalkeeper Trafford. So Newcastle want Trafford from Burnley. Yeah, that's right. That's the one, Michael. So Newcastle want Trafford from Burnley. If they make that transfer, Nick Pope then becomes available. This is theoretical because apparently Nick Pope has said that he doesn't want to leave Newcastle. But if Newcastle United buy Trafford, theoretically it then makes Pope available. So Pope signs for Leeds. Meslier is then available for somebody else to buy. That apparently is... Yeah, that's right, Dr. Cox. That is apparently the way that it works in terms of that is the way that it works in terms of the whole goalkeeper situation. Newcastle are now apparently looking at Espanyol goalkeeper Joan Garcia as well. So there's a potential that as soon as the first Premier League team makes a goalkeeping signing, that everything else starts to fall and the dominoes start to fall in place, and Leeds can start to look at some of the goalkeepers that are becoming available. So don't panic on the goalkeeper front. I think that Leeds are just biding the time on that one. And the same thing with, not in the same way, but the same thing with a number 10. I think Leeds are biding their time on that one. Those are all the transfers that we've been linked with recently. Of course, there is a lot more information on the channel. There's a Christovich video, there's a there's a Noah Sadiki video, there's a Gudmundsson video, there's a Rodrigo Muniz video, there's a Habib Diarra video, there's 2 Jaka Bijol videos. So if you want more information and more of a deep dive on any of the players discussed in this stream, go ahead and check those out on the channel. The best ones are the Noah Sadiki and Gabriel Gudmundsson ones that I've done this week. They give you the kind of best deep dive on those. So yeah, let me know what you think of the players that we've been announced with. Does anybody have any questions about the transfers, about my opinions on anything? Whilst I'm asking for that, remember as well, Leeds Creator Cup. The link is in the description down below. All for Prostate Cancer UK. 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer in their lives, and all for a great cause. All the Leeds United content creators are coming together on the 20th of July at the John Charles Centre for Sport to play a big game of football. Family fun day out. Tickets are available on the Leeds Creator Cup website in the link in the description down below. So make sure you go and have a look at that. Does anybody have any further questions? Okay, so Michael's put one in here. Well, not necessarily a question, but we can talk about it. Nick Pope may want to move somewhere to be number 1 as it's World Cup next year, and if he has international ambition, he will want to make the England squad. He can't do that as number 2. Exactly. Yeah, there is definitely an argument for that because Nick Pope, whilst he might say, oh yeah, I want to stay at Newcastle, if they sign a new goalkeeper, then he's available, essentially. He has to kind of think about what's best for his career. He's 34 now. Now, I saw a lot of people saying, oh no, he's far too old. Buffon played until he was 40 and he was still in his prime. Goalkeepers have a lot different career trajectory. But if we did sign Dubravka, Dr. Cox, then we are just signing Newcastle's second choice keepers. We're getting ourselves into a cycle where we'll never sign anyone but a Newcastle second choice keeper. And he does have a flap in him as well, Dubravka. You saw the one in the Euros where he kind of just flapped it into his own net. So I want to see us go out there and get a goalkeeper. I've not done too much digging into what kind of goalkeepers would be good for us. Maybe that's a video that I could do on the channel, but yeah, certainly something and a position that we need addressing. So for me then, the positions that we need addressing the most are goalkeeper. We've now got a new central defender, so we're kind of happy in that department. So left back, another central midfielder, that box to box, whether that be Sadiki or Diarra, happy with either. We need a number 10. We need a new number 10, and we do need a striker as well. So those are the main roles, and then you've also got, okay, do we sign a backup right back? Do we sign another centre back? Do we sign another winger? These are the kind of options that we have to think about. We haven't got Bijol yet, Ian. No, it's set to be announced soon, but we don't know exactly when. He's been on his honeymoon and he's had his medical and all sorts of stuff going on, but it's just, yeah, it's just kind of something that we need to, I don't think we'll be looking at Hamer, to be honest. I've not seen any links back to Hamer since the start of the transfer window, really. And I do think that you get better value for money out of players like Sadiki and out of Habib Diarra as well. A couple of people saying, Penny saying that she'd like us to get Pope, and Sam Johnstone for me, says Dr. Cox. Yeah, there's a few options really, and there's options from abroad as well. We haven't really considered that too much when we've been looking at the kind of links that we've had to goalkeepers. A lot of them have been to A lot of them have been to UK based goalkeepers, to Premier League goalkeepers and stuff. So there will be options in other places. I know that Petrovic is one that we've been linked of. Obviously, he's a Chelsea player, but had been on loan in the French division. So he's somebody who we could be looking at as well, and would probably do very well for us. He had a really high save percentage on his loan spell. Dr. Cox saying don't want another Vivaldi from Germany though. No, you want. The thing is, I just think our recruitment is honestly maybe 1,000 times better than it was back then, when it was just kind of who's the cheapest player we can get. That was kind of the issue. Michael saying, will Darlow remain Leeds number one? As last season he didn't let the team down as coming into the team. Familiar and is doing well as Wales number one, forming a strong understanding with Rodon and Ampadu at club and internationally. It's an important point you make there, Michael, with that kind of relationship that he's got with those two defenders. I think it all depends on the how late in the window a goalkeeper comes in. Because I think if we were to bring in a goalkeeper now or in the next couple of weeks, I think they start the season, the new goalkeeper. The reason that I think Darlow would start is if we don't get a goalkeeper till later in the window and he doesn't have enough time to bed in, doesn't have enough pre-season games, and then I think he gets a little bit of time before he's swapped out. That's kind of the way that Farke works, I think. So, yeah, I do think that's kind of the... I do think that's the kind of way that will work. Let's have a little look at the top fans thing that we've here. We've got, apparently Sly is the top fan with 75 XP. I'm not really sure like what it's saying gives you that top position, because it's not on the... Oh yeah, should I tell you what we didn't do? We didn't start a super chat goal, so let's do that. But if you've got any more questions about any transfers or my opinions on them or anything, or any videos you'd like to see on transfers, let me know. Yeah, so look, basically the message is don't panic, because we're linked with a lot of players who would really fit our system well. The only one I'm not completely sold on is Nicola Christovich. Or Douglas Luiz as well. Darlow is a safe pair of hands to start with, I would say. Welcome, Tim, as well. One of our Leeds Lately members, of course. Actually, do you know what? I always start the streams by saying it. So welcome to all our Leeds Lately members. Chewy is in here. TJ, Ray, Music, Tim. I think there's a few other members in here as well. So, yeah, thanks. And I do say that Mr. P was our top fan of the week from the last game of the season. He did send the most super chats, so he was the top fan as well, but I took that off just because we're doing a little bit of a news ticker more. If I could have one player come in, who would it be? Any in the world, or kind of realistically, who we'd be looking at. I don't know off the top of my head. I would say that one of the most important positions is that striker role. So if we could sign someone, do you know what? I think Ivan Toney. And I don't think that's also completely outside the realms of possibility, the Ivan Toney one. I think that Ivan Toney is somebody who kind of fits the similar profile to Rodrigo Muniz, Christovich, and I think if we could pry Toney back over to the Premier League after he's gone and spent a couple of years getting a load of money, I think he would do really, really well for us. I don't know what the odds are on him coming to Leeds, but Toney is one that I would say is way up there in terms of someone. And look, if he wants to get back in the England setup and he wants to really, if he came back to England, to Leeds, even if he spent 1 or 2 seasons with us getting a load of goals before somebody else signed him for big money like he was rumoured at Brentford, I think it might be a good move for his career, you know. So, yeah. Michael saying, with Leeds United being linked with quite a few players, will the likes of Joseph Bamford, Harrison, Joffe, Chambers and other fringe players be sold to offset PSR/FFP? So I think we're all right in the wages would be the problem probably, yeah. I think we'd be all right in terms of FFP and PSR. I think the kind of message is that we are okay for that. We've got Jack Harrison kind of coming back, so I imagine that he's going to be on his way out. Apparently, Wrexham are very interested in Joffe. I think Sheffield United were looking at Greenwood. Chambers is a youth player, so I don't think he'll be sold. Joseph, I think he's probably going to go out on loan, and I think Bamford might go out on loan as well. So you'd get a lot of wages off the books with those players. I think if we sold Greenwood, sold Joffe, kept Chambers, sold Harrison, loaned out Joseph, and sold Bamford, I think that's the way to go with that list of players. To me, that there's kind of diminishing returns on them still being Leeds United players at this point. Sorry, I thought it was Sheffield United. It's Leicester, isn't it, Dr. Cox? Thank you. Yeah, I obviously got confused between that one, but yeah. So, in general, we haven't spoken in quite a while. So, how is everyone? Is everyone doing okay? Everyone having a good summer? It's absolutely roasting. It is absolutely roasting, and I am sweating. But how is everybody? How's everybody doing? Is everybody excited for the season to come back? I'm kind of excited for it all to come back, and I'm excited for Leeds to make as many signings as possible. If you haven't already and you're just kind of watching in the background, hit that sub button for me. We're trying to hit 10k. I don't know if we'll do it before the season starts, but we're on our way. Good to hear that, Chewy. Good to hear. I don't know if we're going to hit 10k before the season starts. I'd like to hit 10k by the end of this year. I've been with the Creator Cup coming up. I've been neglecting going for runs and stuff, but I need to start going for runs and all that sort of thing. On the way to kind of being fit enough to run for 90 minutes in the charity match if that's required of me. TJ, Ray, or Tim, sorry, 'cause I always read the first bit and then the brackets are at the end. It's too hot to be a primary school teacher. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely roasting whatever you're doing, to be fair. We're captains. So I'm a captain, Dr. Cox, and Joe is the other captain. Joe's the other captain, so we're on opposite teams. So I'm captaining the Peacocks and Joe's captaining the Yorkshire Roses. Funnily enough, I designed the badges for Yorkshire Roses and for the Peacocks, and I also designed the kits and some of the graphics that you've been seeing as well that people have been doing. So I'm really excited to have that kind of be a. I'm really excited to have that be a thing. So yeah, I mean, it should really be good for me as well. Once we get some pictures of all that in the shirt, it can go in my portfolio and everything for graphic design and everything, because I've not officially left yet, but I have handed in my notice at my job. So I'm hoping to go full time with YouTube and everything. And so hopefully all those extra things will help out as well. So I'm kind of on that edge now where I'm like, let's get to 10k subs. Let's push on from there. So yeah, it's scary but exciting times for me as I've quit my job and I'm hoping to do this and some other stuff as my income, really. Chewy saying, what sort of player are you, Max? A flighty winger, a brick wall in defence? I have always been in junior football I was always a centre back, and then when in senior football I've always been a right back. So I'm your Luke Ayling, but my hair's not as long as his. But yeah, I'm hoping to be a flying fullback. That's my idea in this game, hopefully. Thank you, Chewy. Appreciate that. Michael saying it's great to be a Leeds supporter being linked with all these players that are out of reach in the Championship and now shopping in Waitrose compared to the Co-op in the Championship. You'd be surprised, to be fair. I think that's a bad comparison because the Co-op is very expensive. But it's because it's all like fair trade and ethically sourced and stuff. So that's kind of good. You don't mind paying a bit extra if it's good like that. So let's say Poundland. Waitrose compared to Poundland. I was a goalkeeper, now play as a striker. Those are two very, very opposing things, aren't they? Thanks, Penny. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to do as many things that help the algorithm get the channel out there as possible. So I'm trying to upload shorts whenever there's not a full video to make, and then trying to do... that's the question then. That's the question. Do you think that you would like to see one of these every week? No worries, Robert. Welcome to the chat. No worries. Would you like to see a live stream every week, just rounding up what's happened in the week, chatting about it? I'll make a poll. Weekly transfer stream summarizing the news. Oh, I just pressed a few buttons. Hopefully that didn't end the stream. There we go. I put it in as a poll, so you should be able to vote on that. Poll and see if people like it. But look, with the we don't have live streams because of when we don't have the game. So at least we could have a weekly live stream then, because we haven't had that. We haven't really had that, have we, over the summer? But yeah, that's kind of the news for this week. There's not a massive amount extra. Thanks, Ripper. Jamie, your profile picture very much suits the style of your comments. Like, I've never heard someone be so negative on every single one. Michael saying, what are your plans for your podcast for the coming season? I assume watch-alongs will be... you'll be looking for sponsorship on your channel, more collaborations with other Leeds creators. Yeah, I used to do a lot more collaborating, but then I became a little bit busy and I couldn't really go on as many people's channels, so I haven't done that as much. But I'd like to get back on some podcasts. I'd like to get back on some podcasts and live streams on other people's channels and stuff. And yeah, I am hoping for some sponsorship on the channel as well. To try and just help tide things over and everything. So that would be good if anyone does sponsor the channel. But yeah, there'll be weekly. Basically, there'll be live streams for the summer, as is the schedule at the moment, is 3 to 4 videos a week on transfers, plus the shorts that give you the latest news of who we've been linked with. Then a live stream at the end of the week summarising all the transfer news that we've had. And then when we get the season started, we can do the weekly watch-alongs, the live watch-alongs. We'll have match reactions, probably match previews as well for a lot of the games, like tactical previews where we get the tactics board out. We move the as someone called them the other day, Smarties around. And kind of explaining how each team will play, how we might be able to play against them. I'm sorry, Jamie, and I don't usually I'm not picking on you or picking people out, but we'll be happy when we sign Premiership savvy players like the club promised, not European players with no experience. Want a marquee signing, please. Jamie Vardy would be a utterly stupid decision to make to sign him. Jack Grealish would be far too much money and beyond far too much wages. And if you were here earlier in the stream, you'd have seen the entire thread that I wrote on Twitter about why I think it's a complete myth having Premier League experienced players. Just because you've never heard of them, who is just a bloke, Just because you've never heard of them doesn't mean that they aren't good players. You just might not know that much about European football, and that's fine. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you can just completely poo-poo any transfer or the price of the transfer because you don't know. Michael's saying, I just hope Leeds can survive this season. We have good owners who are doing things in a professional way of recruitment. Players, backroom recruits, more professional than the last ownership. Exactly. So I think the way that things are going is excellent. And there's Joe, the mastermind behind the Creator Cup. Like I said, I think I've said it twice now, and I am going to annoy you with it in these streams and in my videos. I'm going to be annoying, but make sure you go ahead and get your tickets for the Leeds Creator Cup down in the link in the description. But Joe saying James' messages of rage bait, copy paste job, absolutely identical. Comment in my chat recently. Yeah, I don't get what people get out of it, but I've addressed it now, so we'll just ignore it, I think, from now on. But yeah, I know what you mean, Joe. But yeah, like I said, links all in the description. Leeds Creator Cup is down there. Like I said before, 1 in 8 men get prostate cancer in their lives, and this is for a really great cause, trying to raise some money for it as well. So it'll be a fantastic family fun day out. Bring your families, your kids, everything. It'll be completely family friendly, great day out. You can't buy tickets on the door, so make sure you get them in advance. And if you can't come to the match, there is also a donation button on the website as well, so that we can donate as much money as possible to those charities. And the other links in the description are to my affiliate link for Back 4 merch. If you use Leeds Lately 10 at checkout and use my link, I get a small kickback and you'll get 10% off. And then, of course, my prints that I have designed myself are available on my Etsy site as well. So if you use those links down in the description, that'll be really helpful. BMG saying, agree, Max Vardy is past it and Grealish way out of reach. A balance of players like Jaka Bijol and maybe 1 or 2 experienced, realistic Prem players is ideal. I think the way that we get our experienced Prem players is Emi Buendia and other goalkeeper, so Pope or Sam Johnstone. And I think that's fine. I think that's very fine. No worries, Chris. Thank you very much. We much appreciate that anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think having the Premier League experience of an Emi Buendia and AN goalkeeper, or like Sophie plays, Muniz as well, if we can get that, if they sign Ricardo Pepi and the deal is right for us, if we can get that one across the line, then I think it's possible. And then you've got 3 Premier League players there. So that's what I think. That's kind of the weekly thing. We'll probably try and keep these to an hour if everyone's happy with that. So look, yeah, these are the latest. If you've missed something and you haven't, if you've missed something and you want to talk about it, in today's stream we talked about Jaka Bijol, we talk about Lovro Golic, we talk about Habib Diarra, Rodrigo Muniz, Gabriel Gudmundsson, Douglas Luiz, Noah Sadiki and Nicola Christovich, and some goalkeeper chat and number 10 chat as well. Go back through the stream and watch our conversations about that if you want to. And of course, as well, the charity match is being broadcast on YouTube for people that can't make it as well. So we'll leave you with that. Thanks everybody so much for joining me. Sounds like this was a very popular idea to do this stream. So we'll do it as a weekly thing. Hopefully, and I'll put a post out each week about this. If I can't do it at 6 p.m. on a Friday, then I will let you know. But 6 p.m. every Friday, hopefully throughout the transfer window, should be a stream like this where we summarise everything after the week of some hopefully enjoyable YouTube videos for you all. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great weekend and a great next week as well. And yeah, I shall see you next time on Leeds Lately. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check out all the links in the description down below.